16 wants us to simplify. We have two sets of parentheses with nothing in between them. And we remember when nothing's in between, that means to multiply. So I'm going to set up a box. Since this is 3 terms and this is 3 terms, I need a 3 by 3 box. So it's 2x squared y minus 3x y squared plus 4 together with negative 3x squared y plus 4x y squared plus 2. And if my pen decides to continue to delay, this is going to be horrible. I apologize in advance. Let's begin. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. Y times y is y squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. X squared times x is x cubed. Y times y squared is y cubed. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Transfer over the x squared and the y because they don't have anyone to multiply with. Now 4 times 2 is 8. X times x squared, x cubed. Y squared times y is y cubed. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. X squared times x is x cubed. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Alright. X times x is x squared. Y squared times y squared is y to the fourth. 4 times 4 is 16. And again, transfer over the x and the y because they don't have a match. Now 2 times 2 is 4. And bring down the x squared and the y. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Bring over the x and the y squared. And then 2 times 4 is 8. And now rewrite the results, combining like terms if possible. So there's no other x to the fourth or y to the second. So this first term is by itself. Negative 6x to the fourth, y to the second. I have an x cubed y cubed term right here and an x cubed y cubed term right there. I know I pushed highlight, but it decided to do whatever it wanted. So I have a positive 9 and a positive 8, which gives me a positive 17. And again, it was x cubed, y cubed. I guess I won't do that feature again. I'm sorry, guys. The next term, I have x squared and y. His like term is all the way down here. So I have a negative 12 and a positive 4. So that's going to give me a negative 8 x squared y. And then I see that the remaining terms don't have any matches. So I would just be rewriting them as, ooh, sorry. I see a mistake. this should be y squared. And aha, there's a match. So that's a positive 16 and a negative 6. So that gives me a positive 10x y squared. And now, as I was about to say, the remaining terms do not have a like term. So that means I need to write minus 12x squared y to the fourth plus 8 as a final answer when I combine all my like terms. You just have to be very careful when dealing with variables. The variables, when there's multiple, they have to match identically to be considered like terms. Okay, so just be very careful of that. Number 17 also wants us to simplify. We have two sets of parentheses with a minus sign in between, which means we first have to distribute that minus sign. So negative times negative, that's a plus 3a to the fourth. Negative times negative, that's a plus 5a cubed. Negative times a positive is a minus 8a. Negative times a negative is a plus 2. I then would bring down the first parentheses underneath this one, combining or stacking like terms if I have them. So 2a cubed will come right here under 5a cubed. And since it's positive, I'm going to put a plus sign in front. Negative 6a squared doesn't have a match, so I'm going to add him at the end. Positive 4a matches with negative 8a, so let's put him right here. And then I have positive 7, who matches with 2. And now combine my like terms, and then, if possible, rearrange so that all my powers are in decreasing order. So the first one doesn't have a match, so bring down 3a to the fourth. 5 plus 2, that's going to give me 7a to the third. Since my exponents are decreasing, I noticed that I have a 2 all the way down here at the end. Let's just go ahead and write him right next after the a cubed, because he should follow next in line. So 6a squared. And then I would expect to see negative 8 plus 4, so that's a negative 4a. And lastly, 2 and 7 make 9. Now, if you don't understand what I did there, then save that step for last. But I was just trying to cover two birds in one setting, or kill two birds with one stone. There we go. Number 18 wants us to simplify where I is involved. The first two parentheses have nothing in between, so we're first going to need to multiply those, get a result before we can move on. So to multiply the first two parentheses, I recommend using a box. And I'm going to take it to the side so I have some space to work. So negative 3 with a positive 5i. That's a 5. And then 5 with a negative 2i. Multiply. The result would be negative 15 plus 25i plus 6i minus 10i squared. So negative 15 plus 31i, because I'm combining 25 and 6, multiplying it with negative 1. So that means negative 15 would combine with 10 to give me a negative 5 plus 31i. Now back to the problem. So when I joined these two, the result was negative, my pen, stop delaying please, negative 5 plus 31i. Now the next set of parentheses has a 2 in front that I'm going to distribute. So 2 times 9 is 18. So that's a positive 18. 2 times negative 2i is a minus 4i. And now combine my like terms. I have negative 5 and a positive 18, which would give me a positive 13. Then I have a positive 31i and a negative 4i, which would give me a positive 27i. And this would be my final answer. Number 19 would like for us to factor completely. As I skim across, I don't recognize any numbers or variables that they have in common. So that means there isn't a GCF. So I'm going to count the terms, and I notice that there are 4, which means I'm going to factor by grouping. And to factor by grouping, we're going to group with a box. So I'm going to need a box that has 4 smaller boxes inside. Put each term in its own box. So 2x to the 4th plus 5x to the 3rd minus 16x minus 40. So now I look at the top row and take out whatever GCF it has, and the only thing I recognize that they have in common is x to the 3rd. So what times x to the 3rd would give me 2x to the 4th? Well, I will need a 2 and an x. What times x to the 3rd will give me 5x to the 3rd? I would need a positive 5. What times 2x would give me a negative 16x? That would be a negative 8. And then negative 8 times 5, that's negative 40. So that's correct. So far, my factors are going to be 2x plus 5 times x to the 3rd minus 8. And then I recognize that x to the 3rd is a perfect cube, but 8 is also a perfect cube. X to the 3rd is a perfect cube because it is x times x times x. 8 is a perfect cube because it is 2 times 2 times 2. So this is a difference of cubes because of the minus sign. So bring down the first parentheses, that's 2x plus 5, because that's still part of the problem. But the second parentheses will further factor into 2 separate parentheses. Again, you're going to have a small parentheses and a big parentheses. And we're going to use SOAP because it's a difference of cubes. We're going to need the same sign, so a minus. We're going to need the opposite sign, so a plus. And we're always positive in the end. So positive right there. Then we take our first branch from each one and put it in the small parentheses. So x minus 2 would go here. Take the last 2 branches, multiply them. That'll be x squared right there. Take the last 2 branches here, multiply them. That would be 4, which goes here. take one branch from each and join it as a unit. So x times 2 would go here, which is 2x. So this would be the final answer factored completely. So make sure you double check that it is factored completely, meaning no more GCFs, no difference of squares, difference of cubes, or sum of cubes. So always keep asking those questions if at all possible in order to be completely finished for full credit. All right, one more question. Just about done, folks. On number 20, it wants us to find the inverse if w of x is equal to 5x minus 25. So the first thing we're going to do is turn w of x into y. The next thing we're going to do is switch x and y to demonstrate the example of what an inverse means, but everything else remains in place. And now we get y by itself. First thing I'm going to do is add 25 to both sides. Which would give me x plus 25 on the left is equal to 5y on the right. Next thing, I need to get rid of the 5 by dividing 5 on both sides, which would give me x plus 25 over 5 is equal to y. And the last little step, because it wants it to be written in function notation, so we need to make sure our final answer is written accordingly. So w inverse of x is equal to x plus 25 over 5. Final answer. This concludes your practice exam. Please good luck on the real exam.